This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Safari Live Afternoon Sunset Safari. My name is Patrick. Joining me on camera this afternoon is Marcel, and I'm also joined by an elephant over here. We were just making our way to investigate a Impala that was found dead from causes unknown. There doesn't seem to be any damage to the body. This was found by our tech intern Conradi earlier. Well, not intern, sorry, our tech guy Conradi earlier. So I'm not sure what has happened since then, but we'll definitely be following that up. If you have any questions or comments that you would like to share with us during this drive, use that hashtag SafariLive on Twitter or the YouTube chat stream. So we found this big male. It's actually only got a single tusk, although we can't really see that at the moment. It was just cruising on the side of the road. There was a couple of other elephants present, but I can't hear them right now. It is a very hot 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm working up a sweat just moving my jaw to speak to you all right now. It is a very hot afternoon, and I think this one here has just gone for a bit of a cool off at the watering hole. We can see that in the top there, it's still pretty dark. There's quite a bit of water and mud left on that elephant. And I am in the sun right now, so I'm going to try and cool off. Let's send you over to Cities so he can say g'day.
Look at the beautiful skies. You can see that the rain is building and is promising. It's quite very hot at the moment. A very, very good afternoon and welcome to the beginning of the afternoon safari. This is Sydney Pumunani Mikosi, and I'm traveling with Dave, who is my camera operator this afternoon. We are going to try by all means and get to see a lot of interesting animals. The first animal on my plan is the spotted cats. The search goes on. This morning we have been looking everywhere and no evidence to do with the cats has been spotted in the game reserve. Let me go and try again. You can talk to us while doing this search. Follow us on Twitter, hashtag Safari Live. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. So when the sun is hot like this, the activities of the predators, it get restricted. And I am sure that we have to spot very well here. I'm sure we might pick up some of this predator just lying down in between these bushes. But I trust Dave, my camera operator, my professional camera operator, is also a good spotter. So we have to concentrate a lot on top of these termite mounds. Kalamba is one of those animals who are becoming very difficult these days, as she is now highly concentrating by the Torchwood side. So she's just coming to Juma for a while and go back to the side of Torchwood. She's just coming and going, But it's in the bush. Let's always expect unexpected. We might go now looking for Osana and come across someone else. Maybe the small cats such as Kalamba. It is extremely hot at the moment. I can promise you the breeze here is so very much hot. I can feel it. The wind is coming all the way from the western side, much more going towards the eastern side of the reserve. I'm now driving onto the wind, which is quite very hot at the moment. So this wind is so hot, as if the wind is coming from my engine by the vehicle. This is extremely hot. So now is the time for me to cross over to the Maasai Mara. I don't know how the temperatures are like this afternoon, but David, I'm sure, is going to tell us.
A very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Maasai Mara Triangle in Kenya. Sydney, I'm sure you know, he was all the way in South Africa, and we have come thousands of miles or thousands of kilometers to get us to this particular pride of lions here. And my name is David, and on camera today is Archie. Archie, a very good afternoon. Archie is trying to fight some flies there. I'm not sure what flies they are, or it could be a bee. He has to be very careful. Some of the bees we have here in Africa are quite dangerous. Now we have such a flying and very good start to this particular lions here, and this pride of lions is called the owino. The owinos are always 5 lions together, 4 females and 1 youngster that is a male. The way they are strategically placed is an indication they could be looking for something, or they could be laying an ambush to hunt something. Well, it's very possible, albeit being a bit warm here, 28 degrees Celsius, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, that's rather warm, and I would highly doubt they might commit themselves to hunting in this kind of heat. It's possible, depending on their own judgment. Certainly, I'm sure my buddies, my friends have told you that our safari is always very interactive, so should you have any questions or comments, please send them through #SafariLife, or you can keep following us on the YouTube chat stream. Now, this is the Mara Triangle, and one big difference between where we are. Look at that one. She's watching, if I'm not wrong, some bird in front of her, and I think it was a bastard she was watching. Certain times you have seen cats going for little birds, like guinea fowls. So it was just a small little, if you look to the left, there's a bird that's just passing. You can just see the neck, just like a snake. That one there, I think is a bastard. And I was talking a few seconds ago of the difference in terms of habitat between the Mara Triangle and Juma in terms of vegetation. Here it's more open. You can see how clear it is, and the 2 girls there are on the move. And this is the owino pride. 4 girls fully grown and 1 youngster boy. 5 in total. The pride is called owino. Definitely they could be searching for some early dinner. With all the wildebeest gone, with all the migration gone back to Serengeti in Tanzania, they're left with a bit of limited choices. For small little things, we have known them to go for warthog sometimes. If they get any impala that seems they can catch up with it, they'll go for it. But from the way they're staying is a message that they have a plan. They got something they're planning to do. This is their territory. I overheard they were seen here in the morning. I didn't exactly see them because they had passed already. And I thought, before I get to my destination, I swing by and chance, and luckily there they are. Safari lover, it would depend on what these lions would do, but they can hunt anything that it could come on their way. It doesn't matter what, but anything that could come on their way, they could definitely go for it. Safari lover, and always good to hear your name out there. So there she walks, and this is the one that was behind the park, or behind the pride. Initially we thought this pride belonged, or the same pride with another pride that we call a sausage pride, and that is my plans for today. That's where I want to go. And I think at one point they split, and the 5 went in a different direction. What happens once the prides get very big, they will occasionally break for, for sourcing for food. Otherwise, if there are many, it becomes quite a challenge. Well, I would say good luck to the owinos. Hopefully you're going to get something. They are going in a very different direction from the direction I would have wished them to go, because my plans were they go right 6 o'clock from where they're going, because that would take me to the sausages that I really want to look for this afternoon. Well, I'm going to leave them and wish them good luck. Hopefully they get themselves some Christmas dinner. Christmas, I'm sure it's not over. And as we leave them, we will go across back to Sydney in South Africa, where I think we got some sort of antelope.
You can see I've got one of the largest antelopes here by the Djuma Game Reserve, which is also one of the largest antelopes here in southern Africa. I have got the very beautiful kudus there. You can see one is looking to the other direction as the other one is looking at the other side. Normally, animals for predation purposes, when they are standing like this, is when one is looking at the eastern side to check what is coming, whereas the other one is observing who is coming by the left-hand side, which is at this stage the western side of where I am. So these kudus, if you look at them here, they've got a line of hairs coming down their back, and you can even see some part of these hairs coming down before the stripes. This is a gauge which is used in order to check the availability of calcium in the body. These animals, don't get surprised. Sometimes the kudus, you will see them eating the bones of the other old dead animals, which is kind of a behavior called an osteophagic behavior. Osteo has got something to do with the bones. So these animals, when they're lacking of these kind of minerals, they've got to come here and concentrate on the old dead animals' bones that has been lying around on the field for quite a long time to gain more calcium. So these kudus are all under the trees at the moment. It's a sign that the sun is so very hot, and the one we are looking at is looking heavily pregnant at the moment. But the stripes as well, when you can see the stripes clearly like we are doing now, it means these kudus are on a good condition. When not on a good condition, the stripes, they faint a little bit. You can see all the stripes are nice and clear. Those are called thank you very much, Onka. And if we can look again here by this body side of the kudu, you can see the stripes are dividing the kudus into quite a lot of dimensions. You can see that these stripes confuse the predators. They are termed the disruption markings. They disrupt the predators in order to judge the animal when the animal is motionless. This kudu can be able to jump from 2 to 4 meters high fence from a resting position. It's quite a very big animal, but he can jump very high. Oh, he's listening. Look at those large ears. So the large ears for the kudus helps them to collect a lot of sound because these animals are browsers. Browsers are the animals who feed on leaves. So for them to get hold of the leaves, they must have to concentrate much more deep in the thick bushes, whereby when they're feeding, when ears are open, they can be able to collect a lot of sound and hear predators stalking them from a long distance. This is quite a very beautiful female kudu, and now it's browsing. You can see that when these kudus are browsing, we got here about a few minutes ago. And when we got here, this kudu was not feeding. It's only now that it's feeding. Maybe the other kudus already had something on that tree. When it's doing this, when the kudus are feeding, they provoke the trees to react chemically by releasing some of the chemicals in order to regulate the browsing activities. Because these trees, they've got to protect their leaves. Yes, there's too many leaves on these trees, but these leaves has to be protected because leaves have got a very significant purpose of producing the carbohydrates, which is the nutrients for the tree to survive. So now I am heading towards the Sydney Dam area to start from there to see if maybe we can pick up any tracks of any of the predators much more this side. The last time I saw Tingana, he was coming to the Buffalo's Hook, which is just the area on my right-hand side. So while I'm heading much more towards the Sydney Dam, I am going to take you back to Pat and hear how Pat is doing this afternoon.
Well, I left those elephants. I have come to search for that carcass I mentioned earlier. Now, I did get my information wrong. Apparently, it is an Impala carcass, not an Inyala carcass. So I will be checking that out very shortly. But seeing as I was on those elephants, I just thought I would show the kind of path of destruction that is sometimes left from elephants. We do apologise for that pole in the way here. I'll just roll forward a little bit. We are expecting a little bit of rain later. There we go. So we can see here that all of these trees have just been completely uprooted, knocked over. It looks like absolute chaos through here. Now this isn't all a bad thing. Of course it's helping the elephants because they're getting their food and whatever else they need to do with that tree. But it also helps to control things like bush encroachment. Bush encroachment being an overgrowth of bush past their kind of natural perimeters. And this can really start to upset the balance between the herbaceous layer and the tree layer. And then that can affect the numbers of browsers and herbivores and really start to disrupt the ecosystem. So I just thought that was a nice little link up between elephants and what elephants can actually do. I will be moving on now. Bruce, how do elephants keep cool? Well, that's actually quite a broad question. They have a few different mechanisms. The most obvious one being water. Going for a swim, they can use their trunks to suck up large amount of water and they'll spray it all over their body. So that's the first one. Secondly, their ears are very big. They're quite thin also, and they are filled with a lot of, there's a big network of veins and blood vessels. And so once the water, once the blood comes through the ear, it will be cooled down because of that surface area to volume ratio being changed. And so then the cool blood will start to be pumped around their body, and that's another way of cooling down. Now, I have read a paper also that says that they have hot spots on their body, which is areas, patches throughout different locations on the body where heat exchange starts to differ and change. But I'm not actually too convinced on this. We checked it out the other night using the FLIR, the thermal camera, and it didn't really look like there was anything prominent. But I will have to consult the literature again and see exactly what to be looking for. It's also the wrinkliness of their skin. It's another trick with surface area to volume ratios that helps them stay cool. Is this cheetah? Kelly, how much water do elephants need to drink every day? Well, I'm not sure of the exact number, but they are very water dependent, so they will drink every day. They will spend most of their days going to a waterhole, having a swim, drinking, and then they'll slowly start to browse and graze and just feed and slowly make their way to the next waterhole. And then they'll start to quicken up and go a bit more directly and then have another drink. And this is pretty much a perpetual cycle of how they're going to spend their day. So I think, is that the... Well, I thought this was the carcass here, but it's actually a little steenbok. So let's have a look at this little guy. It's not often that we get to see them just calm and standing there. They're very skittish. And yes, everybody, I do agree, the elephant would be very hot today. We did see it earlier flapping its ears there, cooling itself off. So this might look like a little calf or a young of an antelope, but is actually a full-grown male steenbok, probably about less than 10 kilos or 22 pounds. They're very small animals. And often, there we go, this is what we often see them do. They jump off very quickly. They like to be in and around cover, long grasses and all that, to keep them hidden. Because they do have such a small body size, it's obviously very easy to hide. So I'm going to keep moving on. Look out for this impala. So it's very common to see steenbok like that as well, where they're just by themselves. They do live a very solitary lifestyle. For an antelope, you'll never really see them with other ones unless it's a mother with some young or one with a mate. Alright, well, I'm going to keep on looking for this impala carcass. Let's go over to Sidders, who is searching for some cats.
Quite a lot of impalas here where I am at the moment, and on the ground I can see that the lions has been going up and down, and there's very fresh tracks here of these lions around the Sydney's Dam. I can see somewhere there's very fresh tracks, and also hyenas has been here. There has been quite a lot of activities taking place here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to conduct a thorough investigation. Here, now I've got a clue, but the tracks are going much more that way, so if I find other tracks going back, then I'm going to get worried because I'm not very far away from the border. I'm going to track these animals down. These are very fresh tracks of the lions. And these tracks are just coming from that area where we saw the Kudu pride a few days ago. Is somewhere around that area. So let's hope for the best. Umka, I didn't copy your question very nicely. If you can repeat that question for me. Talamba, that is too soon. Talamba is still very, very young at the moment to hold the territory. I don't think that is going to happen now because he's just about a year old now. So still a long way to go because normally they get chased away when they're about 2 years. I just want to show you this track here. It's a very nice, clear track I found for the lion. I'm just going to get off here and show you how this track looks like. I don't know if my cameraman is already on the track, as this might disturb a little bit. You can see that this track is nice and clear. This lion was going this way from that side, which is Sydney's Dam. So we are going that way in order to see if we can find these lions. So there's no tracks I'm seeing going back. Most of the tracks are going that way. Let's see what we're going to find there. So the interesting part is the hyenas we're following. Maybe they were hunting. So maybe they were hunting here this morning. So the hyenas are always on standby for any emergencies. Once they pick up a distress call or they pick up any scent of the blood, they have to go towards that direction and try by all means to have something to eat. A lot of people, they think hyenas don't hunt. And I know hyenas are one of those animals which has got a very bad reputational damage because people, they think hyenas are nervous, hyenas are coward, they don't want to go and hunt, they are so lazy, they rely on the other animals. It's not always like that. A lot of percentage of their diet is consisted of food they have created themselves, they have killed themselves. So hyenas, they also go out for hunt. It's just that their cooperation when hunting is different from other well-gifted and skillful predators. They chase animals until animals get tired. And they don't launch a surprise. They come when animals are seeing them. So they've got a very strong stamina. So I just want to try and check and see where these lions has gone past here, because I can see that there's a very big road here where these lions are coming from the other portion. So I want to see if they have crossed all the way to the other side of this road. Giraffe girl, we will try by all means and get you see the hyena den later on, because we are also looking for those hyenas. I haven't seen them for quite a long time now. I've been there, I think, 2 or 3 times and no luck. So let's hope for the best later on. So I can't find where exactly these lions. Oh, here is the tracks. Now I found the tracks. They have crossed here to this side. So at least I've got an idea now. So I'm just gonna turn and carry on trekking much more towards that side. Rosalind, when we are talking about the hyenas, you're talking about a very well-gifted animal. He can be able to detect something 5 kilometers away, he can smell it. So hyenas has got a very good sense of smell. So these tracks for the hyenas, maybe they are going to lead us. But there's a very bad smell here in the area where we are. So I'm not too sure if it's a dead animal or something has been happening here. Yes, let's wait for that moment. Let's wait for that moment. Let's just expect unexpected. I might find them or I might not because of some of the transverse rules. As I can see that these activities were taking place much more close to the border. So I'm just gonna keep the hyenas, why do they do? So those hyenas, sometimes they do it when they're excited, when they find some food. That is what they do. So they do these kind of things when they are so excited, but also when they're irritated. When they're irritated, when they're fighting, that is what you are going to hear the most. So that is why animals are so unpredictable, because sometimes they can do the same thing when they're happy, and they can also do the very same thing when they're not happy. Yeah, those lions crossed here, so I'm right on the tracks. They went deep in here, but there's a lot of impalas here where we are. Oh, there's some waters here, so that's why these lions came here. So it means they came here for a drink. And normally lions, after drinking, they don't go long distances. Maybe they're somewhere here. So now let's quickly go back to Pat. Pat at the moment has got a dead impala.
Well guys, we found the impala carcass. If you are a sensitive viewer, now would be the time to look away, because I am even struggling to be here right now. It smells very bad, it doesn't look great, but this is nature and it is our job to present it. So as for the cause of the death of this impala, I'm not actually too sure. It's died in a kind of, well, its posture of death. It's got its head kind of extended backwards over the top of it there. And we can see that there's a bit of flattened grass around here. So there was a little bit of perhaps thrashing about or movement of the legs. So it could be disease, potentially. Maybe heat exhaustion as well. I'm not too sure. Another thing I'm not too sure about is why nothing is coming. Oh, I'm sorry, the smell. Why something hasn't come and eaten it. We can see that obviously something has opened it up here, and we can see some stomach as well over here. I'm not sure whether we're going to be able to get this in shot, but we do have a pile of intestines here that has also been ripped out and dragged away. So not much of the animal. Oh, okay. And now I'm looking at it from this angle. Its entire rear section has been taken as well. Oh. Okay, so that I'm really not sure now. So the entire kind of rump has been taken as well from this animal. So I'm not sure if there's any animals out there that exclusively eat the backside of impalas. No, nothing's taken from the neck though, and there doesn't seem to be any bloody discharge. So this remains a bit of a mystery. But it will eventually break down. All of the body parts will eventually go back into the earth and complete that cycle of life. Sorry? Your mic just cut out. Oh, sorry, we had a bit of a technical issue there. My mic cut out. Am I good now? Yeah, good. Sorry, I'm just not connected to the actual comms because I'm out of the car, so I can't actually hear anything. So if you do have any questions, I'll answer them when I get back in the car as well. Now, the cycle of life will go on, and even the horns are going to be reused. These horns here on top of its head are made of keratin, and there is a specific moth that will lay its larvae inside of the horns, and they will digest that keratin, and you'll see all of these lumps of keratin, or of what they have digested, coming out of the horn in a dead antelope. I can't bear this smell anymore, so I'm going to move off. And oh, there's also some hyena scat here, but that could be pretty old. Perhaps not the victim. How's
that smell, man?
That smell is horrendous. I'm sure to some animals, like a hyena though, that's probably a very great smell. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to relocate my mic cable, or speaker cable. Alrighty, and off we go. So, now that I have found that, the plan for the rest of the afternoon is to pretty much just check out the shady areas and the cold, well not cold, but the wet areas. Yes, David, that was very CSI-like. I felt like I was on a crime TV show. I'm sure they probably have to put up with a lot of horrible smells and sights. K6, I don't think that would be from lightning. There wasn't any charring or anything that looked burned. There was no signs of electrocution or anything like that, so I don't think it would have been lightning. The electrical storms we've been getting lately though, I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few animals out there that have been struck. Some of them, you're looking off into the distance and all you can see is just zap, 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 lighting up the sky. I've never seen such a high density of lightning anywhere in my life. It's crazy. I do apologise, I'm having a problem with this earpiece. Well, I'm going to go check out a watering hole south of where we are right now, see what is happening down that way. In the meantime, I believe David has reunited with his lions in the Mara. Let's go say g'day.
Yes, the whole idea sometimes is just moving around and chancing what you might see. I decided to leave the hyenas. Anybody who is joining us now here in the Mara Triangle in Kenya, we had a pride that we call the hyena, which normally consists of 5 in total, 4 females and 1 youngster. They're just walking in the grass here, and definitely to my kind of judgment, they are looking for some food. Not anything I saw close to where they are, but I'm sure maybe as darkness falls, they might get something for themselves. What I've seen them doing is walking towards the escarpment. You know, in the Mara Triangle we have what we call the all escarpment, and because of the rains we have been having here for the last couple of weeks, a lot of water has collected in this area. So most of the ungulates, or the animals that we say are hooved animals, have left this area and gone to higher grounds that are much drier. And definitely that's where those lions are heading to, because they know that's where they'll be able to catch up with either zebras or some kind of antelope, toppies, or even some hartebeest. But at the moment, the whole of this area has nothing. The only other animals we're seeing that are not worried by the wetness of the ground are, in general, elephants. Elephants are all over, and ideally what we've found out, or what I know in life, or my many years in the bush, whether it rains, however heavy it rains, elephants don't get very much affected. You'll see even during the rain time, elephants will still be moving and also be feeding. But in general, most ungulates have left this area completely. Once in a while, we are bumping into warthogs, which of course, when lions are tight in terms of choice, they'll even go for warthogs. The hyenas are very good in hunting warthogs. So if they get a pig today, I'm sure they'll be bringing it down for dinner. So my plans were to get to the sausages. So two of the females, I said earlier, this morning, and I was wondering where the other three would be. Okay, you say the Mara is beautiful. Yes, it is, because if you look, it's just wonderfully green all over. So this is one of the areas that we call burnt areas, because there was fire here a few months ago, and what has happened now, after the rains, everything has just turned lush and green. I think if I was a wildebeest myself, I would make a very big U-turn from Serengeti National Park and come back right here and enjoy this grass, because I think, or I believe, it's very nutritious, full of minerals, full of vitamins. But every year they have been known to go down there because they need to calve or bring down the babies in the month of February. That is a cycle that does not change, and if it changes, it's always either by 1 week this way or that way. Either the first week of February or the second week, or the second week of February or the third week. But it's never beyond the third week or, end of January. It has always been the month of February. So just need to look for some way to get to the big road and then start heading to the other area where I'm hoping to get the lions I saw this morning. All right, I think I can make it here. Yes, I can. And I want to go through some wet area here. And as I'm trying to meander through this wet area, let's go back to Sydney Mikosi.
So the tracks for these lions, they crossed all the way to the private concession just by the southern side of the game reserve. Unfortunately, I couldn't manage to follow them all the way down to that area. But I'm just now doing my final check, as there is quite a lot of tracks spreading around here, to see if maybe some of these pride members are not walking behind. Yeah, it looks very much quiet at the moment. So you can see there's some of the tracks coming back this way, where we're coming from some of the members of the very same pride. There's tracks going that side and tracks coming back. So I can see these are the male tracks. So the male, because of the body size, the tracks, they look much more bigger than the one of the females. So female tracks are much smaller all the time, and the males, you'll see they grow very big. If you look at the lion's male, in order to attract the females, the bodies, they grow very big. And also that forms part of the territorial defense, because they must have to get a lot of strength together with that mane, which exaggerates the body size as a majestic animal. These are very big males. When I'm looking at the size of the tracks, I can promise you these males are beautiful. So So maybe they are somewhere around the Sydney stem by the other side. That is what I am hoping for. I think these tracks belongs to one of the avokas or the whole coalition, because it's not just a single track. There is a lot of tracks showing that it's not the same animal. And they are not working together. They are using different pathways. So you can see that they were not following each other. They were all together, but each one of them was using its own pathway. So the avokas we're flying and with some of the Unkuhuma females. So there might be a... I am confused. Why? Because of the following. The avokas are going is the very same direction where the Unkuhuma went to earlier last. I just got yesterday somewhere towards the where the avokas are heading to. It has been spotted yesterday. So now I would like to apologize with regards to the breakdown, as here where I am, the signals are not by Sydney's area. This is not just because of the bush regrowing, and normally here signals, they are very much poor. So I am trying to check everywhere around the sandy patch here. Maybe we might be lucky. The thing is, when it's too hot like this, these animals, lions, they like to sleep a lot. Paul, I didn't copy your question very nicely. I just heard coalition. Normally the coalition, these animals, they stick together, but sometimes the old males, when they retire, they just become solitary and just walk just by themselves. And you must remember, when one of the lions is very, very old, they don't really take care of those very old ones. It's rare. Sometimes they even chase them away. So now let's quickly go back to Pat, who is now, I think, heading much more towards the Chitwa waterhole.
Yes, I am down here at Chitwa Dam, one of my favourite places to be here in the Sabi Sand, just because of the fact that it's a large body of water, and I do miss them these days. So we've got a saddle-billed stork that you are looking at right now, that big bird. This one appears to be, well, it looks like a male. So we can tell the difference between them because the males will have a yellow wattle, which is a structure just underneath the bill there. It's a bit hard to see it right now. And then the females will have a yellow eye. Oh, and to the right of that, we've got a bit of a weird situation. So we have a hippopotamus and its baby there, yep, just there. And the hippo was just excreting and flapping it about in the young's face. It's stopped now, but that was a very strange little encounter. So if we go, hang on. I'm just going to move up a little bit because we actually have a hippo coming down to the water and some impala there drinking as well. So I wonder whether the hippo is going to get angry at the impala. Because hippos, if you come between a hippo and its water, it will not generally end well because they need it. They are completely dependent on water for their survival. I don't want to get too close because hippos are quite skittish, so we'll just stay here for now. How cool is this? It's not often we get to see a hippo fully out of water. Oh, and it's just noticed the Inyala, sorry, I was calling them Impala. That's the second time I've done that today. Mix them two up, but I can see now it's definitely some Inyala down there drinking at the water. And the hippopotamus doesn't seem too bothered. What are you doing out of the water, mate? It is boiling. This is not where you need to be right now. I'm sure he's going to join everyone else for a dip. Emma, I'm not sure why it would be out of water at this time of the day. I'm not too familiar with chitwas, so I'm not exactly sure where it came from. But yeah, we can see it's quite damp, so I think it must have come from another water source, or I'm not sure, maybe it got... Catherine, yes, it is a cool hippo. It's always great to see a hippo out of water, with the big barreling stomachs and bodies. Of course, this one wouldn't usually look this colour. It is just completely covered in mud and water right now, which is giving it that appearance. So they use that to help them cool down and as a sunscreen. They also produce blood sweat as well, which is a compound that will act as a natural sunscreen for them. So they kind of secrete this all over their skin. It comes out kind of red, well, just like the name says, bloody sweat. And then it will dry, and it also helps them deal with parasites as well. So hippos are actually quite good at dealing with disease and parasites. Frank, yes, a hippo will generally only leave the water when they are going to graze at night time. They'll spend a majority of their day, usually about up to 16 hours, sometimes even longer, in the water, and will only really move out to feed. They will actually even give birth in the water. So if a mother is pregnant, she'll go underwater to birth, which is pretty cool. Tanis was actually wondering that, so I'm glad that I had that little telepathic connection with you just then. So and it's really cool as well. There's such a good link between the aquatic and the terrestrial world, being a very water-dependent species, yet still being in an inland, not arid, but kind of dry environment. Excuse me. Ooh, looks like just down in front of us here we've got some little goslings to our right. I'll just move forward a little bit so we can get a better look at them. There's some Egyptian geese here, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little goslings. And anyone who regularly follows us will know the plight of the chicks of Egyptian geese. They're not the greatest parents. So we'll probably keep our eyes on these ones over the coming weeks and see how successful they are. But as far as parents go, I wouldn't really want to be a young Egyptian geese. Ooh, people watching along saying that there's about 9 or 10. So good eyesight, good spotting there. I would probably agree with that as well. When they're bunched up together, they can be hard to distinguish from one another, as they've got that real kind of mottly, camouflaged white type pattern. They haven't quite got their adult plumage yet. Very cute. It's always great to see little chicks. What a peaceful day out here at the Chitwa Dam. I'm going to move off though back into Juma and see what I can find there. And in the meantime, let's send you up north to Kenya in the Mara, where David is moving towards the Sausage Republic.
Anytime you are at Chitwa Dam, you'll always, or Chitwa Hole, you'll always see some exciting things. Not sure I remember having seen a sausage tree there. And earlier I told you I'm going to the Sausage Republic, and you might wonder what was I talking about. And the pride of lions I'm looking for is called the sausage tree pride, and the reason we call it that is because of what you're seeing there on your screen. Now this particular tree is called the sausage tree because when it fruits, that's the kind of fruits it makes or it gets, and if you look at them carefully, they take the shape of a sausage. Now lions, or many cats I would say here in Africa, are named in a particular way, either by their behavior or by their look. And these particular lions were named by their behavior. We have always followed them or seen them climbing this particular tree very many times. If you look at it, it's pretty green, and also the leaves are wide, and look at the branches there, very solid branches. So for them to go up this tree, you could tell they're definitely looking for some nice shade. When we get so many flies on the ground, or if the ground is wet, they'd always go up there, or as I said again, to get some shade. Linda, that's very good. What to remind you of, and the sausage pride would have, as I say, love going up on this particular tree, and that's why they were named the sausages or the sausage tree pride. Now, one thing is clear: apart from these lions going up here, locally here in Africa, we have used these fruits, Linda, for getting or making some local wine. Not many animals will eat it because they're not very nutritious, but they're very fibrous. So we get elephants or giraffes or baboons sometimes eating them for fiber, maybe making the digestion a lot easier. And in the village, as I was saying, we'll use them to make some local wine when you have very big celebration, and we use them to ferment the wine. And the wine will be like lots of water in it, put a bit of sugar, a bit of honey, and when this fruit ripen, they'll always fall on the ground, and we remove the husk, and what is inside is something like spongy, and it just helps to activate like enzymes to ferment the wine, and it's one of the best wines you will ever take. So that's how we ended up naming these particular lions the sausage tree, or the sausage tree pride. All right, we're going to leave them, and what we're going to do is to move on and see if we can get them, because this is their home where I am at the moment. All right, are you happy for me to move? Okay. Still have some wonderful, gorgeous light, which would mean I would be able to spot these girls, and very, very good. Yes, that's also the tree there, how it looks. I'm not sure most of you have that kind of tree where you come from, but I'm trying to think. It's maybe very native to Africa, that tree. I don't know. I haven't heard of it or seen it anywhere else in the world, so I guess it could only, or that tree is indigenous to Africa. Well, my excitement today would be to see the other three females, because this morning I saw two, and if I see the other three, that will translate to me seeing the three cubs. There's one female that has two cubs, and there's another female that has one cub. The one female that has the one cub is what we call limpy. When you see her walking, she limps a little bit. And I'm trying now to just age those cubs, and the one with limpy, the single one, could be about 3 months now, and maybe the two, which are much older, could just be going to about 4 months. Now, the direction I'm pointing at to my right in this particular laga is where they have lived for a very long time. A laga is kind of a depression area that when it rains, it drains water to some streams or to a bigger river, and they have always used it when it's not raining to get some warmth and just shield themselves from the cold including the cubs. So what I need to do is to keep my eyes there, glued. Hopefully these lions will pop up, because Sydney might be doing the same in South Africa.
I gave up with the lions at the moment because the tracks went towards the private property. So I confirmed that. Now I am back again by the Djuma side, looking specifically for the spotted cats. So I always prefer to hit two birds with one stone. The chances of the Birmingham boys to return, they are also very much high. You must remember that now we have got the new pride, the one that we saw a few days ago. Maybe the new pride is going to come and try their luck by the Djuma territory, and there might be quite a lot of fighting in the area. So at this stage, it's very much difficult to tell who is going to come back and who is going to stay where they are, because now we have got another pride which looks also dangerous. So this new pride has got 6 young males and 5 females. So you can see that the 6 young males, they are going to form a very nice collection. So I didn't see any tracks. I'm not too sure exactly what is the specific name for that pride, as the other guys who spotted those lions that day confirmed that it is a Shikutu pride. So, but yes, the IDs on these different prides is quite very difficult for me. But I know quite a lot of viewers, they know. So some of the viewers were saying they know and understand some of these prides and the different leopard lips and individuals better than I do. The lions' dynamics are always very much interesting. But I think it's good to have the other males coming into the area and disperse others, so that at least this can minimize the chance of inbreeding. Because if we have got the prides who are just multiplying from the very same structure, at the end we might end up having a lot of inbreeding possibility. And once there is inbreeding, the species, they do get threatened by extinction, and it also reduces heterozygosity. So now let's go to David. I wish him all the best, as I gave up on lions. Maybe David is going to be lucky and find you some this afternoon.
Well, yeah, the best thing is just to wish me the best, because somehow I'm feeling, having lots of energy and lots of positivity on finding these gulls that I saw earlier in the day. I'm thinking this should be the time to get them out. The one good advantage I have today, no sign of rains, not a single cloud in the sky, as much as I've said a few times. And then we have ended up being hammered very heavily with Archie. Archie is the one who is filming with me today. So just enjoying this kind of weather. And to me, I would call this weather the lion weather because it's flat, it's very open, and because it's green at the moment, it's very easy now for the lions to stand out with a kind of tawny or creamish color. So that is, unlike a few, I would say, weeks ago when it was very dry, you would see the lions flat on the ground unless you see them waking their head up or flicking their tail up. You could just drive 20 meters away from where they are and completely miss them. So I'm enjoying this kind of weather. But so many flies today, I'm not sure where they're coming from. But the flies that will come when it rains. Earlier, I remember when we were starting the show, Archie was fighting some of them, but I think now we are out of that particular area. So I have to look. I don't want to miss any part of the grass. Now, again, I was talking about the flies and how God it is named. So the flies would become a nuisance in the grass here. They could very easily go on top of the trees. But I'm not on any trees. The lions would go here. Not really, they're very thin trees, not very huge trunks, a bit narrow. They prefer wide, wide branches, because like ideally they're not very good climbers unlike the leopards. So I would only expect them to look for some very solid trees that have branches to be able to climb on. Apparently in the same lager here that I'm pointing, there's a leopard that lives here, and at one point I saw that leopardess trying to get so close to the cubs of the sausage gulls. I didn't see the leopardess that time, but what I saw were the cubs, and as soon as I got there, that female away from those cubs, and fortunately or unfortunately she took off. I don't know what I interfered with there at that point, but again, it's always what it is. Sorry, I missed you there. Got a king here. I'm hopefully going to see these cuts. Not any at the moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, occasionally we'll have some gremlins and a bit of breakdowns in terms of technical breakdown. Sorry about that, but because I'm trying to get to a better area, we'll send you back to Sydney, who got some animals lives in the water.
So you can see that I am here just by the Buffalo's Hook Dam. Every time you see this hippo, you must know that he must be somewhere around the Buffalo's Hook Dam. He likes this area the most. So you can see that now he's there. He's serving as a very important host for the oxpeckers. You can see this about a few oxpeckers there. They are trying to clean him, and some are trying to clean some of the wounds because they like to eat also the dead tissues and the blood coming out from these wounds. So the oxpeckers, they do get threatened a lot by extinction, as some of the people, they poison the water holes trying to control some of the predators, eating some of the stocks and all these things, which can be very much detrimental to the wildlife. I have seen the area where the oxpeckers were completely extinct and they had to be reintroduced because of drinking water which is contaminated. So these kind of birds are so very much useful to this ecology because they help the animals which are very much important in order to balance the vegetation. So if you can check this vegetation, if it doesn't have any animals to defoliate it, we are going to have a problem. The grass needs some other animals to eat, such as hippopotamus, in order to stimulate growth. If we don't have hippopotamus doing that, then we are going to have a problem, as the grass tufts, the part where the grasses are growing from, where the grasses are going up in order to breed, those tufts, they battle to come out. So they need these animals to come and eat. If not the animals, natural fires must come and burn the grasses in order to stimulate the growth. So you can see that without animals intervening, the nature, it cannot easily work itself. But when animals are doing it, is when nature is taking its course. These animals are here for that. The trees as well, they need animals to come and trim them all the time so that they can be able to reproduce and grow. That is why we have got animals who are feeding, who are very small, such as takers, who are feeding from the bottom, and after the taker you will have another sized animal such as a nyala feeding from where the taker cannot access by the same tree. And again you will have the kudu coming on top, and then you will have the giraffe high up. So there is a balance. This one eats here to restrict competition, and the other one will eat on top. So all these animals, naturally, they are being catered for. Jennifer, Jennifer is saying the oxpeckers are vampire bears because they are eating these animals and the blood alive. So you can see that hippopotamus does not have any problem. What we are seeing here is a mutualistic relationship. It's called mutualism. They are both getting benefit from interacting together. That animal there, the bird, is getting the ticks as food, whereas the animal is being cleaned, which is useful in order to prevent dehydration, because the ticks, they absorb quite a lot of blood on these animals. So the water by the Buffalo's Hook Dam is going down again. The other part of the Buffalo's Hook is already dry. That's why the hippopotamus is much more only by the left side. I'm just going to show you the other part now. You will see that this part was also having water. There's only a little bit of water left. And while we're still there, I want to tell you the impact a water hole like this have to these animals. When there's a little bit of water left in the middle, like we are seeing now, animals such as kudus, they like to go and get that water. But because of the loose compaction of this soil, when going in there, they get stuck. And it's difficult for them to come out. That's why sometimes animals such as lions, you will see them following them and getting an easy meal just like that. When the water is becoming dry, animals don't realize they're going to get stuck when going to drink in the middle. So now we're just going to carry on forward and see if we can find any tracks. Maybe we might be lucky, because other animals are depending on Buffalo's Hook, such as Tingana sometimes. Hosana, we have seen him on several occasions, including Thandi. So I can see that myself, as well as all my viewers, we are at the same page, hoping for more rains to come and fill the Buffalo's Hook Dam and other dams as well. But so far I can say that we do have a lot of water and the trees are excited. So there is a balance a little bit, but let's hope, because I think there has been a prediction that it might rain tonight or tomorrow. So this area where I'm driving now does have a small pen called Gwari Pen, which is also now becoming a stop. It's a stop for the animals. Instead of coming to Buffalo's Hook, they are enjoying water by that pen. I want to also go and check there. So where we are at the moment, the vegetation is changing, is getting very thick. I can see that if there is a cat here, if we don't know about the presence of that cat, it's not easy to find it. So if the animals are so hungry, if the leopards are so hungry, when they are flat lying down under these trees, it won't be easy. But when the stomach is full, at least it's much better because we can see that concave shape when they're lying down under these trees. But at the moment when it's not having anything in the bellies, I can promise you, it won't be an easy exercise to see these animals. So now let's cross over back to Pat, who is also looking for some interesting animal.
Welcome back, everybody. I made my way away from Chitwa, only to realise that, well, it's pretty hot today. I think our best chance of seeing something cool is staying by the water. So I think I'm going to make my way back down that way. We did check along this road for tracks, see if there's any leopards about, but no luck as of yet. I was very, very blessed to be with Tandi the other day. Actually, it wasn't too far off from where we are right now. And then, of course, she gave me the famous Tandi slip and was gone like that. It's not cooling down, I can tell you that much. It was looking like there was going to be a bit... Well, there are some clouds building off in the distance, but yes, everyone, it is actually getting hotter, I think. Yesterday morning I sat in a car and the internal thermometer of the car said it was 41 degrees and it was only 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's getting very hot out here at the moment. We are all praying, and I think I might even do a bit of a rain dance tonight to get some rain.
Let's see a rain dance.
Steve wants to see my rain dance. Okay. Hey! 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 Rain! 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 Emma says that she thinks I need to work on it. Well, I think it's fine. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. It's getting hot. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. The heat has cooked my brain. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, Steve, what were you calling it yesterday morning? Brain melt. Brain melt, very good word for it. I'm sure someone who doesn't have brain melt is David in the Mara. Let's go back over to him. He might be speaking some sense.
Things look bright and much cooler here, definitely, than it is in South Africa, where Pat and Sydney are. And because it's cooler, I'm still very convinced. At one point, I will bump into the sausage guards that I haven't seen until, for the last half an hour. I've been to the area where I saw them in the morning, but they were not there. What that tells me, they might have moved to a different area, maybe to look for some prey. Ideally, lions during the day don't cover so much distances. At night is when they move a lot. But, during the day, because of the heat, they may remain in a particular area until it cools off, then they can start going quite far. But I'm still enjoying this wilderness here, smelling so fresh, so clean air. And one of the joys of me doing what I'm doing, I think, maybe me and Archie and all my other colleagues, we get the most fresh air in the world, So I want to try and see if I can go the same lag I saw them. That was on the other side of that lager. So what I've done, I have crossed that lager to come to this other side. And I want first to stop somewhere and just pan this camera with all the magic of Archie. And I want us to have the great view of the Mara because the light is very gorgeous, and I'm sure Archie can catch anything. It could be trees, it could be bats flying, it could be buffaloes, it could be just the lush grass. Well done, Archie. And we're thinking this could be egrets flying there. That's a very good job. How cool is that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would say it has been a wonderful afternoon for me here in Archie, in Kenya, in the Mara Triangle. The other boys in South Africa, sitting part and the other camera operators. Archie, don't tell me that cloud might bring us some rain, but I'm happy if you show me the Olororo escarpment, and that's one of the boundaries of the Mara Triangle. And what I want to say is to thank all of you for having joined us, because after this we shall be switching over to some school kids, and for you adults, for you our regular viewers, we want to thank you very much for having joined. But shortly after we wrap up, we'll be going to a session with the kids, and from me and from the Mara, thank you very much, and South Africa, we'll see you again shortly, or see you tomorrow morning. Thank you, and from all of us, goodbye.